Mafia is a game released in 2002 by 2K Czech and published by Gathering of Developers, with a remastered definitive edition released in 2020 and developed by Hangar 13. Mafia is a game series I've always considered to be GTA clones, but really, now that I've played this, I see that couldn't be further from the truth. Mafia is a GTA clone only in the sense that they're both third-person games with cars and open-world cities, but beyond that, these are very different experiences that don't deserve to be conflated together. So with that out of the way, let's get into the review proper, and we'll start, as always, with the presentation of Mafia. So you might be able to tell, but I'm playing the definitive edition remake for this video. And if you know anything about shoes here, you know that when given the choice between a remake and the original, I'll almost always choose the original.
Why?
Well, because I'm passionate about gaming history. Just look at my fucking channel. And so I like experiencing these games as they were on release. It's a kind of way to transport myself back in time to an era I wasn't a part of. And that's just really interesting to me. So again, why am I playing the remake? It's because it was on sale and I got all 3 games for like 20 bucks. At the end of the day, I'm pretty glad I played this version though. It's one of the best, most faithful remakes to a classic game I've ever seen. The textures, the animations, the performances, it's all top notch. Real good shit. Real good shit.
Do those bastards think this is fucking Luna Park or something? I'll rip them apart with my own hands.
The graphics obviously speak for themselves, but seriously, the voice work here is beyond incredible. If anything, this acting is what we should be comparing to Rockstar games, because it's on that level. All the voice work was redone for this remake, and honestly, it's leagues better than the original. Not to say the original was bad in any way, but it was improved upon in every aspect. I especially love Paulie's voice. He captured some of that nasally squeal he had in the original, but he played it up in a way that makes his characters so much more unique and interesting to listen to.
He's going on and on about how he just landed this huge payday, but the goons he's working for are already twisting his arm, and he's got the busted nose to show for it.
He really does sound like an improved Paulie, but even beyond the facelift and voice work, Hangar 13 went out of their way to preserve aspects of the original that would even be considered controversial today, such as its unforgiving difficulty. Mafia wasn't easy, and the definitive edition's classic difficulty reflects that well. 3 or 4 bullets? You're dead. But on the flip side, enemies can only take a single well-placed round themselves. It plays on the hardcore Call of Duty campaign rules. It's all about choosing the correct moments to peek and having generally better accuracy. But this goes beyond damage values. Even the handling of your cars is tied to a completely separate difficulty option. On the classic driving difficulty, your car's gonna have a lot of weight to it. You'll spin out of control easily. And speaking of spinning out of control, let's talk about that racing level. You might not have known, like me, that Mafia was known for being really fucking hard. And a part of that infamous reputation comes from this driving level. It's a notoriously difficult section that blindsides you early into the experience. Like, you gotta be a real fucking Trackmania superstar to get past this shit, and if you're not, be prepared to crack your skull against the wall for a couple hours while you memorize every turn, angle, and loose fucking rock on this track. It's already hard enough on classic driving to not donut at every slight adjustment, but on top of that, the AI is on some Lightning McQueen shit. These guys are real professionals. One screw up, just one, and you have no shot at finishing in first, which, by the way, you need to do to progress. It might sound like I'm bitching, which, to be fair, I totally am, but I really respect this mission. This race was ridiculously hard back in 2002, unreasonably hard, but Hangar 13 stuck to their guns and made sure to preserve that insane challenge. I'm positive over 90% of the people who played Mafia back then never got past this mission, which is a damn shame, but luckily in the definitive edition, we get the best of both worlds. Those looking for that classic OG experience can get that, but if you don't feel like dealing with this random difficulty spike, you can always turn them sliders down. Hell, you can even maintain the same AI difficulty while making the driving a little more arcade-like. But if you know me, I definitely didn't turn mine down, no siree. Yeah, Yeah, that's the second video in a row where I was a coward. You know what? I don't even care. This section is bullshit. I'm not here to play fucking Gran Turismo or whatever the hell. I want to bust some kneecaps. I want to run rackets. I want to swim with the fish. Wait, I don't want to do that.
Who are you? Ma'am! Ma'am! Someone help!
I just fucking beat her ass. Oh my god.
Let's talk a little about Mafia's open world design. This is where Mafia gets its comparisons to Grand Theft Auto. At least I'm pretty sure, right? I'll be honest, I'm not certain where I got this idea or if it's even a generally held opinion at this point. What I do know is I played the Mafia 2 demo on the 360 when I was like 10, and I seem pretty convinced that was a GTA clone. And who knows, that might even ring true. I've never really played it. But it definitely doesn't apply to this game. Obviously, Mafia is a third-person shooter with a story-driven campaign and open-world city. But this game isn't open world in the traditional sense. The city of Lost Heaven is rendered in its entirety, sure, but in the story mode you'll approach it linearly. The game forces you from the end of one chapter directly into the next, so you don't run into the usual open world pacing issues. If you don't know what I mean, just take a look at Fallout 4. This is an open world where that openness causes a dissonance in the pacing of the main story. Your character is supposed to be a father who's had his son recently kidnapped in front of his eyes. Anyone in that situation would immediately work on finding their kid. But you're not really in that situation, are you? You're not a dad missing their kid, you're a gamer playing Fallout. And so instead of going straight into the meat of the main quest, you're a lot more likely to run around and play Fallout Farmville for 30 hours.
I've got a group of settlers inside. The raiders are almost through the door. Grab that laser monkey and help us, please!
No thanks.
I'm sure you've played a game where one of the characters is all like, shit, we better go do that thing, and quick too, some bad stuff's gonna happen if we don't hurry up and do that. Only for you to turn around and say, yeah, well, I got like 20 side quests I should probably start on before I overlevel. Mafia doesn't give you that opportunity. It goes from story beat to story beat, and it's a real breath of fresh air. It allows the game to maintain its pacing while also benefiting from an open design, such as when you're tasked with losing the heat during a mission. In these scenarios, you're given the entirety of Lost Heaven to use to your advantage, and if you feel like exploring more or even engaging with some side content, that's all here too in a separate free ride mode. I can't wholeheartedly recommend you to engage with it though. The side content of Mafia is very much side content. You got 13 separate side missions to play, each of them rewarding you with either a costume, weapon, skin, or vehicle, which is cool and everything, but I personally couldn't find the motivation to go through them all. There isn't much of a story to them. Hell, the phone booth calls that kicked them off aren't even voiced. Seriously? It's popcorn shit for you to play around with if you feel like it. And it's nice that they reward you with cool stuff for each of them. What's less cool with this free ride mode is the city of Lost Heaven in general. You can walk by all your boys from the main story here, like Luigi or Vinny, but they don't say anything. They're like mannequins or something. Not even a hello or a how do you do. This empty feeling extends to the entirety of the city. There's really nothing to explore or interact with beyond those 13 missions. Of course, you could do the whole serial killer shtick to get some fun out of it, but that's like the most surface level enjoyment you could get from something like this. Ultimately, it's nice this free ride mode is here, but it can pretty safely be skipped and you won't be missing much. So with all that out of the way, I think it's time for everyone's favorite part of the video. Story time! Spoilers ahead. Mafia's story is the biggest selling point of this game, and it's why I give a glowing recommendation to anyone who could get their hands on it. So in Mafia, you play as Tommy Luigi Gabagulangelo, an everyman taxi driver who, on one fateful night, is held up by a couple mobsters by the names of Paulie Pizza and Sam Spaghetti. Am I being insensitive right now? Anyway, they force your boy to act as their impromptu getaway driver, and as a token of appreciation, Tommy's given a fat wad of cash by the dawn of their crime family. From there, we follow his journey up the ranks of the Salieri suit to become a made man. The rise and fall of Tommy Angelo is so perfectly done, even if it does sort of clash with the gameplay. As Tommy rises along the ranks, he's given increasingly unsavory tasks by the dawn, one of which is to car bomb some politician or something. Which of course we do, but in a sick turn of events, his wife, or some lady I guess, eats the car bomb instead. Oh no! There's a few other moments in the game that show Tommy's disdain for the dirty work of his profession, but this is the biggest one that sends him down the road of trying to punch his ticket, so to speak. Which is honestly kind of ridiculous considering I've killed maybe 1,000 innocent police officers just doing their job over the course of this story. I know this is low-hanging fruit, but come on, you're trying to tell me this lady is the proverbial straw? I guess you could argue that these cops are on the opposing crime family Morello's payroll, so killing them is totally justified. You could also argue that I'm being a pedantic fuck and none of this really matters, and that one I totally agree with. I just thought it was kind of funny. But really though, the fall of Tommy Angelo was beautifully done, especially since the whole car bomb thing, while being the biggest moment in turning him away from the family, is actually pulled off well. It's not like Tommy turns around the next day and says, fuck this shit, I'm out, I can't live with myself, I blew up some lady. Instead, it's more of a start of the process, or the acceleration of it. Tommy continues working under Salieri up until the point when he dupes him, Sam, and Paulie into stealing some hard drugs. It's at that point he and Paulie have a serious discussion about their desires to leave the family behind for good. You grow to really like these characters too, especially Paulie, that lovable dumbass, and Sam. Shit, man. When Sam betrays you, damn, that's like top 10 gut-wrenching moments in gaming history, right next to Eli Vance's death and Cyberpunk's release. So overall, Mafia Definitive Edition is pretty great. I didn't have exceptionally high hopes for it going in, but I was pleasantly surprised, especially with this remake. Again, I normally go for the classics over the remasters and such, but in this case, it was so faithfully done and executed with such class that I can't bring myself to complain about it at all. Just like how you can't complain about my channel at all, but probably, maybe, I don't know. And if you can, then make sure to let me know down in the comments down below. Also, make sure to tell me about some good games I should try out. And like my video if you like it. I got plenty more in the pipeline, so be sure to subscribe. Next video's gonna be on, something. I haven't really made up my mind yet. But it'll sure be something. Anyway, thanks for watching.